All right, good for you to see these bonus or this bonus track. There's only one. Before we get started, though, I want to cover two things. Nothing has prompted me to cover this first one, and the second one I probably should have covered earlier. Clearly, everybody understands I'm not giving out any kind of medical advice. Never will. That is between you and your doctor or your healthcare practitioner, whatever. Okay, so let's hope nobody is taking this in that spirit that I'm giving some sort of medical advice, because I'm not. The second thing, hopefully everybody understands that you are responsible for your health. Nobody else is, not your doctor, Procter & Gamble, General Mills, all these food companies. They're not responsible for your health. The only one is you. Okay, you are your healthcare advocate. So let's all, embrace that, because if you don't, you're relying on somebody else to manage your health, and that's not a good thing. Okay? All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox now, and what I want to cover real quick is the triglyceride to HDL ratio in a couple of scenarios that you might run across, and you're going to have some decisions to make if you see these. So hang on just a second. I'm going to fix this, make it look a little bit bigger. All right. Okay, we're there. All right. So on your lipid panel, you're going to have total cholesterol, you're going to have triglycerides, HDL, and LDL. And over here, there's going to be reference ranges. So I'm just going to put RF for reference range. We're good so far, okay? And so we know total cholesterol is an X for predicting anything. It doesn't predict very well at all, meaning predicting that you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke. LDL is not predictive in whether or not you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke. That's in the literature. These two are predictive, but also if we do the ratio, very predictive, okay? So let's run some scenarios real quick. Total cholesterol, let's say in this case, is 240 out of range. I think the range is below 200 or 200 or below. Triglyceride, however, comes in at a beautiful 50. HDL comes in at a beautiful 50. And LDL comes in a little bit hot at, say, 140. Okay? So we calculate this ratio like good mathematicians, and we know that's equal to a 1. We know that's not predictive. We know that's not predictive, but we're out of range. We're out of range. So there's a likelihood that your physician or healthcare practitioner, whatever you want to call them, are going to be concerned about that LDL, and they're going to say, maybe we need to put you on a statin drug. Okay? All right. Well, hang on a minute. We know that from the literature that it's very likely this LDL is type A. That's the buoyant, safe type. It's not indicative of heart disease. And the chances are with that triglyceride to HDL ratio, it probably is. Before I would go on a statin, now this is not medical advice, but this is just what I would do for what it's worth. I'm going to have them pull that. I want to know how this LDL is comprised. I want to know what the particle count is, type A, type B, tell me what it is before you put me on that type of a drug. Okay? That's what I would do. All right? Let's look at a second scenario, then we'll be done. Okay? Important stuff. So we come in and our total cholesterol comes in at 190. Looks good, below reference range. Triglycerides are at 140. Below the reference range. I think the reference range is 150. Woo. And HDL comes in at 40. On the low end of the reference range. And your LDL comes in at a beautiful 85. Everybody loves this. So in this scenario, 190, everybody's happy with that. The 85, everybody's happy with that. But you and I know something different, don't we? This ratio is over 3. It's a 3 plus. Now this lipid panel, likely you'll walk away and say you're fine. But we know better. It's not fine. Just because you're within range on a lousy predictor here, which is your total cholesterol, you're within range on this poor predictor here, LDL, doesn't tell you anything. And over here, you're in range, but your ratio is way off. You're at a 3. So there's a likelihood that this LDL is really the small dense type B particle size. Do you see what's happening here? Okay. So what would you do in this situation? I will tell you what I would personally do. One is I would want, again, I want to see this because this is very concerning to me. If I'm at a 3+ and my LDL is, even though it's low, it could be comprised of a bunch of small dense type B particles. That's a bad thing. That's indicative of heart disease. I don't want that. Okay? So 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, you look great other than being out of range, but your ratio is spot on. And then this scenario where everything on the panel is within range, but your ratio is way out of whack, that's the number I would look at and I would take my actions on. Okay? All right, that's it. Next episode, we're going to go over how your triglycerides get high and then how you can bring them down and how we can also raise our LDL, our HDL, so important. All right, thanks for sticking around for this bonus, very important stuff, and we will see you next time.